Evening, Larson Heights Elementary, and welcome to Bedtime Stories with Mrs. Schatzko. We are going to be reading one of my, one of my favorite books. Like, I have so many favorite books because, well, there's just so many really great ones out there to read, but this one is pretty funny. So, most of you know the story of the Three Little Pigs. Like, you've learned it, you've heard it, huffing and puffing and blowing the house down and catching my chinny chin chin. So, but this is the true story of the Three Little Pigs as told by the wolf. So this is a lesson in different perspectives. So sometimes there are two sides to every story, and usually the truth is somewhere in the middle. But let's figure out where the truth is on this one. Okay, so this is the true story of the Three Little Pigs by Jon Scieszka and illustrated by Lane Smith. Everybody knows the story of the Three Little Pigs, or at least they think they do. But I'll let you in on a little secret. Nobody knows the real story because nobody has ever heard my side of the story. I'm the wolf, Alexander T. Wolf. You can call me Al. I don't know how this whole big bad wolf thing got started, but it is all wrong. Maybe it's because of our diet. Hey, it's not my fault wolves eat cute little animals like bunnies and sheep and pigs. That's just the way we are. If cheeseburgers were cute, folks would probably think you were big and bad too. Here's the wolf, and there's the cheeseburger. But, like I was saying, this whole big bad wolf thing is all wrong. The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar. This is the real story. Oh, hi, Boo-Boo. Losha has come to join us. Hopefully he won't start barking at us, but there's a good chance that that's going to happen. I may have to get him to lay down. Come here. Hey, come here. Lejat. 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 Boy. Okay, we'll see if he stays. Who knows? He sometimes likes to bark at me. Okay, so this is the real story, and it's about a sneeze and a cup of sugar, remember? So, way back in Once Upon a Time, I was making a birthday cake for my dear old granny. I had a terrible sneezing cold, and I ran out of sugar. So I walked down the street to ask my neighbor for a cup of sugar. Now, this neighbor was a pig, and he wasn't too bright either. He had built his whole house out of straw. Can you believe it? I mean, who in his right mind would build a house out of straw? Really? For reals? It feels like a house out of straw would fall down pretty easily. I'm kind of with the wolf on this one. So, of course, the minute I knocked on the door, it fell right in. I didn't want to just walk into someone else's house, so I called, "Little pig, little pig, are you in?" No answer. I was just about to go home without the cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. And that is when my nose started to itch. I felt a sneeze coming on. Well, I huffed and I snuffed. Oh my gosh, can you see what's gonna happen? Huffing and snuffing. And I sneezed, a great sneeze. Achoo! Oh my gosh. And you know what? That whole darn straw house fell down. And right in the middle of the pile of straw was the first little pig, dead as a doornail. He had been home the whole time. Now, it seemed like a shame to leave a perfectly good ham dinner lying there in the straw, so I ate it up. Think of it as a big cheeseburger, just lying there. Right? What are you gonna do? You're gonna leave a cheeseburger laying there not eating it. So I was starting to feel a little better, but I still didn't have my cup of sugar. So I went to the next neighbor's house. This neighbor was the first little pig's brother. He was a little smarter, but not much. He'd built his house of sticks. House of sticks. I rang the bell on the stick house. Nobody answered. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig, are you in?" He yelled back, "Go away, wolf. You can't come in. I'm shaving the hairs on my chinny chin chin." That doesn't sound very nice to me. I had just grabbed the doorknob when I felt another sneeze coming on. I huffed and I snuffed and I tried to cover my mouth, but I sneezed a great sneeze. Oh, check it out. And you're not gonna believe it, but this guy's house fell down just like his brother's. When the dust cleared, there was the second little pig, dead as a doornail. Wolf's honor. Now, you know food will spoil if you just leave it out in the open. So I did the only thing there was to do. I had dinner again. Think of it as a second helping. I was getting awfully full, but my cold was feeling a little better. And I still didn't have that cup of sugar for my dear old granny's birthday cake. So I went to the next house. This guy was the first and the second little pig's brother. He must have been the brains in the family. He had built his house of bricks. I knocked on the door of the big brick house. No answer. I called, "Mr. Pig, Mr. Pig." And do you know what that rude little porker answered? "Get out of here, wolf. Don't bother me again." Talk about impolite. He probably had a whole sack full of sugar and he wouldn't give me even one little cup for my dear old sweet granny's birthday cake. What a pig. I was just about to go home and maybe make a nice birthday card instead of a cake when I felt my cold coming on. I huffed and I snuffed. Oh my gosh, and I sneezed once again. Then the third little pig yelled, "And your old granny can go sit on a pin." That is not a very nice little pig. That's all I have to say. Who says things like that? Now, I'm usually a pretty calm fellow, but when somebody talks about my granny like that, I go crazy. When the cops drove up, of course, I was trying to break down this pig's door, and the whole time I was huffing and puffing and sneezing and making a huge scene. The rest, as they say, is history. The news reporters found out about the two pigs I had for dinner. They figured a sick guy going to borrow a cup of sugar didn't sound very exciting. So they jazzed up the story with all that huff and puff and blow your house down, and they made me into the big bad wolf. That's it. The real story. I was framed. But maybe you could loan me a cup of sugar? Have a great night, Larson Heights Elementary, and I cannot wait to see you on Monday morning. I have been missing you all weekend long. I will see you then. Make sure that you are filling out your forms for our Literacy Month challenge with North, because you know we want Mrs. Frederick to come to Larson instead of Mrs. Schatzko going to North. So have a great weekend. Enjoy the sunshine. It's super beautiful. And I will see you Monday morning first thing.